Hello, if you just joined me on this live session, today we are going to go with the Rural and Francophone Immigration Pilot Program or Rural and Francophone Community Immigration Program. So, if you've been following me, then by now you already know enough about this program. This is where Canada has appointed some specific communities within Canada, communities that they regard as being communities that they regard as rural, the smaller communities, and some are also francophone. So we all know Canada have these immigration programs where they go through these routes to help bring people to Canada. And mostly it's targeted at people that they believe have something to offer. So in this case, we have the Rural and Immigration Pilot Program. And in this, Canada uses this program to bring people in so that they will be able to bring their skills and what they have to offer and experience and everything. So the main thing is the express entry, but since not everybody qualifies for express entry, and also people who come through express entry, they can go wherever they want. And as a result, most don't move to these smaller communities, which is why Canada gives preference to these smaller communities and asks them to bring in people by themselves. So if you are using this rural or francophone program, it means you are definitely going to have to live in those communities. It doesn't necessarily have to be forever, but yes, you still have to live there. So that is how it works. So today, what I'm going to do now is to teach you about the new updates of the program and since I get the feedback, so I'm trying to mute it. Okay, it's not muted, so we can now go ahead. Yeah. Okay, so let me turn this camera so that you can also see. Let's people on TikTok. Okay. So that's the best I can do for those who are on TikTok. So I'm going to start with it. So with the immigration program, as always, whenever I'm starting with any of these trainings, I like to start from scratch because not everybody have the website, not everybody can go right from it. So this is what I do. I come to Google and I search for the program, rural and francophone community immigration pilots. Yes. So once I have my search here, I know I am looking for the official Canada or IRCC website. That is canada.ca. So that this is the exact one. If you are doing it outside Canada, it may not pop up as the first one, but because I am in Canada, whenever I do these searches, the ones that are related to Canada pop up first. So it's not surprising that this one popped up first. So this is where I go, Rural and Francophone Community Program. So as I told you earlier, we have some specific communities that are being used for this program. So for the rural participating communities, we have P2 County. This list is something I've already posted on my page, so everybody should be able to access it. And we have 14 communities in the rural and 6 in the francophone. But the one thing though is Sudbury in Ontario and Timmins in Ontario are both in the rural and the francophone programs. Meaning if you are applying to Timmins, you should be able to apply for either rural or francophone, depending on where you belong to. If you speak French, then that means means it's good enough for you. You can apply for both of them, for under both programs. And if you do not speak French, then it means you are definitely restricted to the rural participating communities. So, since we now want to see what is happening in this process and what is happening there, they are actually giving another process for employers. That's employers in these communities to be able to go through this process and be, should I say, approved. So not every company or institution can just give job offers and expect you to be able to come to those communities with this particular program. For you to be able to do that, you definitely need to go through the process and be accepted by the community first. So, like now, Timmins, as always, I say Timmins have taken more like the lead in this particular program. Timmins have already come out with a list of communities, a list of companies or employers that they have approved. So, yes, you can apply for a job in Timmins, but if it's not for any of these approved employers, it means it's not going to qualify for the rural and Francophone program. And that is it. So if this is what you have at the back of your mind, you first of all have to check the list that they have given to be sure that this particular company you are applying to is actually approved by the community before you go ahead with it. So you are an employer, so that's not where we are going. We are talking about skilled workers who want to go through this particular process. So as you all know, I started from a place and now I am here. So if you want to go through it too, this is the same thing you have to do. Start from Google, search for it, and then you will definitely be able to get it. You don't need to ask someone else to get you a link or help you through it. It is very simple. The English is simple enough and everybody should be able to do it by themselves. So now when I come to rural, and we are starting with the rural, so we go to rural communities. When we come here, you're able to see everything about this program, everything you need to know, who can apply, get a job, how to get a job offer, and how to apply for the permanent residency, and after you apply, how to settle in Canada and all of that, and the optional work permit. This optional work permit is for people who have qualified and are applying for the permanent residency. So we all know applying for permanent residency takes a while. So because it takes a while, they give you the option to just apply for a work permit, an open work permit. So with this, you are able to move to Canada even before your permanent residency is processed. And if you're already in Canada, it means you are able to start working way before the permanent residency is processed, because you get a work permit and you are able to work for this employer until your permanent residency is processed and approved. Then you become a permanent resident. And as a permanent resident, you do not need a visa or work permit or whatever. You are a resident. You live here. So you have all the rights that a Canadian citizen has, except to vote. So now so for people who were asking, this is the fees for if you are applying for this program. But this fees is when you've gotten the job offer, you've gotten the approval from the community, and you are applying for the permanent residency. It is going to cost you $1,525 for the principal applicant. For permanent residency, mostly the primary applicant has his own fee. And for each additional family member you bring, the fee increases a bit. But it's not going to be like in multiples, like each person is going to pay $1,525. No. The $1,525 is for the principal applicant. If you are a family, they will definitely let you know how much you're going to pay before you even apply. So now we are going to who can apply. So to apply for permanent residency through the Rural Community Immigration Pilots, you must first have a valid job offer from a designated employer in the community. As I said, the communities are going to let you know which employers are designated or approved by them. Not just every employer in that community qualifies. They must receive their approval first from the community. And then you also need to have at least 1 year of related work experience in the past 3 years. So let's say you are applying for a nursing position in a hospital in, let's say, Timmins. They only require you to have had 1 year work experience in the last 3 years. So if you've been working for the last 10 years, fine. They're only going to consider the last 3 years. That means you have 3 years work experience, and that is what they care about. If you just graduated, like let's say last year, and you've been working and you now have like 1 year work experience, that is also good enough for them because it also falls within the last 3 years. And you also need to prove your language abilities by taking an approved test. So for English, RFCIP, and let me see. I think I can open that page for you so that we're able to do that. So this is it. For the approved language tests, English is RFCIP, IELTS, and PT, Pearson Test of English. And for French, it's TEF Canada and TCF Canada. These are the approved language tests that they accept. So most people for English take IELTS, and some also take RFCIP. But I think outside Canada, IELTS is more popular. RFCIP, I don't know if you were able to take it outside Canada, but yes, I do know IELTS is much more popular outside of Canada. So yes, and if you are going to take your IELTS, you also definitely need to write your general, the general test. IELTS normally have the general and academic. You have to take the general to be able to qualify for a permanent residency. So now let's go back. So aside writing the language proficiency test, you also need to have a Canadian educational credential or the foreign equivalent. So this means if you have schooled outside of Canada, Canada cannot just say because you have a degree in, let's say, nursing in your country, let's say Ghana, it is automatically going to qualify as an RN in Canada. No. For you to be able to know that, you have to go through an academic evaluation. So with the academic evaluation, as I've already said before, we have WES, we have ICAS, we have IQAS. There's a lot of them, but WES is the popular one. WES is very, very popular. I think it's worldwide, not just Canada or US, UK. Almost everybody accepts WES. So most people use WES. But as I said, I like to give you options so that you'll be able to try whichever of them that you want. But yes, WES is widely accepted. So if you do this academic evaluation, they are able to let you know. They will give you a final report, and this final report is going to tell you that yes, you did this program in this country, in this school, and it is equivalent to maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 year program of this in Canada. So I always like to use mine as an example. So I had a 4 year degree in economics in Ghana, and I also had a bachelor's degree in biology from the Philippines. So when I did my academic evaluation, even though they were both bachelor's degrees, the one from Ghana was equivalent to a similar 4 year bachelor degree in Canada. But the biology bachelor's degree I did in Philippines was only equivalent to a 3 year undergraduate degree in Canada. They are different. Yes, one 3 years, another is 4 years. So unless you do this academic evaluation, you are never really going to be sure what exactly your program is equivalent to in Canada. And even if you just assume you know, they still need you to do the academic evaluation to be able to use it for this program. And sometimes too, what happens is the school that you or had your program in is not really certified. And because it's not certified, it just so happens to be that you do the evaluation and it's equal to nil, like it's nothing, which means the whole thing is plus 90. Yeah, that's what sometimes happens. That's why it's always good to have your programs in accredited schools in your country. So far as the school is accredited in your country, that should be good enough. So these are the basic four requirements you need to be able to apply for this program. The last thing is the settlement funds. So for settlement funds, as you all know, if you are applying to any program in Kenya, even for students, you definitely need to show proof of funds. So this is the same thing they are talking about here. Except because you are coming as a permanent resident, you are coming to live here, they expect you to have enough funds in your account to show that in case you get here, you will be able to at least rent for your first month, feed yourself, and because it's not like the moment you get here you are going to receive money. No, in the permanent resident or express entry itself, if you already have a job, you do not necessarily have to show proof of funds, but for this you do have to show proof of funds, and this is how much you need to show if you are coming. So if it is just you, one person, you only need to show 7,963 Canadian dollars. Mind you, this is not US dollars. This is Canadian dollars. So 7,963 Canadian dollars for one person. You are not married, you don't have any children. If let's say you are married, so it's just you and your spouse, that is 9,692. Or you and your kid, you are not bringing your spouse, fine. Still 9,692. If it's three people, 12,000, and then it keeps increasing. And one more thing here that's not mentioned here is for immigration to Canada, even if your family is not coming with you, you still need to show the proof of funds. So let's say you are married and you have one kid. So that's three people in your immediate family. But you are coming in first, and maybe they will come in later. That means you need to show proof of funds of $12,069 Canadian dollars. Even though the two are not coming in, you are the only person coming. This is how it works in Canada. So far as you are married and you have your children, or so far as you have some family, you definitely have to show proof of funds for them, even if they are not a company. So now we are going to how to get a job offer. So you click on the get a job offer and it brings you to this site. So if this site, you are asked to choose a rural community, because we are in the rural community immigration plan. If we have selected the Francophone, it will still bring us here to same place. The process is the same. The only difference is one are rural communities and they mostly speak English, and the other are Francophone communities and they mostly speak French. That is all. That's the only difference, but the process and everything is the same. So in this rural community, when you click here, it opens all the rural communities for you. And what you are coming to do here is, this main page is IRCC. That is the Canada's official immigration website. But as I already told you, with this particular program, the power has been given to the communities themselves. And as a result, you should be able, the communities are the ones who are going to open their own website, do everything in there, and the only thing you are going to do is just go to their website and apply for the job. You go there, apply for the job, go through the whole process, and when it's time to apply for the permanent residency itself, that is when you now come back to the government or to the federal government or to IRCC. But right from getting a job to getting the job offer, the community approval, and everything, they are all done on the particular community's website, not IRCC. You only come to IRCC's page here when you need more information about it. But most of the community's websites will also provide this same information. So now, as I said, Timmins has taken the lead. They are the first community to have opened their websites. They are the first community to have given a list of their priority occupations and sectors. And now they are the first one to have also explained the process in its entirety and given approved employers that you can start applying to everything. So I'm going to take you to Timmins. No need for me to go through the others because whichever that I choose for you, yes, continue, they have their websites done. But none of them have posted jobs yet. But Timmins has taken the lead, as I said. So we are going to use Timmins. So once you choose the community, just press on continue. And it gives you this link here that is going to take you to the website of the community. I prefer to go to the websites from the IRCC page because then you are sure you are definitely going to the right page. It's not going to be taking you to someone's fake website where they may end up scamming you. I am always very particular about this because there's a lot of people, just as you want to travel or you want something good for yourself, there are people out there who are also looking for ways that they can always scam you and take your heart from you. So I always try to show you how to go to the right page without any possibility of being scammed. So if you come here, IRCC is going to give you the right website that you need to go to. So now I am in the Timmins website. Let me check on the TikTok and see if anything is happening there. Okay, so this is the Timmins website, and as I said, Timmins is both Francophone and also part of the rural community. And as a result, you can apply for both programs in Timmins. So if you come to Timmins, they first of all provided us with the priority sectors and occupations. So this is for the rural community immigration pilot, and this is for Francophone. It's similar occupations in English. So yeah, we'll just go through all of them. So under the rural, their priority sectors is health, education, law and social, community and government services, trades and transport, natural resources and agriculture, business, finance and administration. So if you come here and you are applying for any job in this particular community, you must ensure that the job you are applying for falls within this category, within any of these categories. Either you are applying for the financial advisor position, accounting technicians and bookkeepers, administrative officers. I'm just going to skip through it and go to popular occupations that I know a lot of people will be interested in, like licensed practical nurses. So in Canada, licensed practical nurses or practical nurses, diploma nurses, not degree. Diploma nurses, that is what we call practical nurses in Canada. And then we also have the registered nurses and registered psychiatric nurses. So registered nurses, that is the degree nursing program. When you come to Canada and you hear registered nurses, it means automatically it is a degree nurse. But when we are talking about diploma, that is the practical nurse. And we also have the certificate. So the certificate In Canada, mostly they are PSWs, PCAs. These are all just names, but they do almost the same thing anyways. So when you come to this side, we have nurse aides, orderlies, and patient service associates. All these are more like certificate programs. And we also have some for animal health technologists and veterinary technicians. We also have medical laboratory technologists. We also have elementary school and kindergarten teachers, social and community service workers. So we have early childhood educators and assistants. We also have welders and related machine operators. The one thing here though, and we also have transport truck drivers, heavy equipment operators, automotive and heavy truck and equipment parts installers and services. The reason I'm listing these programs is, as you may have noticed, these are all skilled trades programs or occupations. So, especially for welders in Ghana, I know many people just go to high school and once they are done, they just go to a professional and they just train them to work. Some have not even gone to high school yet and they just go and learn the trade. They go and learn welding, they go and learn how to drive trucks and all of that. But the thing here in Canada is, with all of these, there are school programs for them. So if you need to apply for, like, say, a transport truck as a transport truck driver, they still expect you to have at least a high school certificate and go through the training as a truck driver, because I know when they are done, they are given their licenses and all of that. So it's not like you just see a truck driver position and you know very well you don't even go to high school. Yes, maybe you are able to still speak English and you think, oh, because it's a truck driver and I've been driving for the past 10 years, I do qualify. No, that is the one thing. For almost all of these things, industrial electricians, construction, millwrights, and industrial mechanics, welders, and all of these, you still need training for them. That is why I keep talking about, if you are coming to Canada to school, don't just choose any program. Make sure that program has potential to give you your permanent residency afterwards. These skills traits are programs that most people coming from outside Canada do not really respect. But here in Canada, they do really respect them. And a lot of people who are in these professions are actually very, very rich. So now that yeah, and I also saw one thing I wanted to mention. Yeah, home support workers, caregivers, and related occupations. Yeah, this is also part of the priority occupations. So now let's go to the employers. Just before we get there, I'm going to get the um, let me see. I'm trying to get the list of employers first. Employer requirement. So that is by the employers. Okay. So this is for candidates. So who can apply for this? We've already gone through who can apply for the program. So no need for us to go through this anymore. So this is just Timmins trying to teach you how to go through this whole process. So step one is for you to go and read and know if you qualify to apply. And if you do qualify to apply, then you come to step two. That's to get a job offer. So for you to be able to get a job offer, as I said, you do need to apply to a designated employer or an approved employer, an employer or a company or institution that the community has approved. In this case, Timmins have already released a list of designated employers, and this is that list. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, there's 12 employers that Timmins, for now, have taken through the process and have approved them and made them designated employers. So if you are applying to Timmins, whether for the rural or the Francophone, and it's not for any of these companies, it means it cannot qualify for this particular rural and Francophone community immigration program. That is exactly what it means. So if at the back of your mind, this is what you want to get your permanent residency through this particular program, you have to apply to any of these particular companies. So we have 360 Boring Services, and as the name implies, I guess they are a boring company, and Agnico Eagle Mines Limited definitely have to do with mines. Anti-Hunger Coalition Timmins, but it is here that they are not currently hiring. So I am assuming this is probably an NGO or something like that, but they are not currently hiring, so you cannot apply to that. And they also have Boudreaux Automotive Mechanic, as the name implies mechanics. It doesn't necessarily mean only mechanics can apply. You can go there and they may probably be looking for an office assistant or an office assistant or any other office position that is not even related to, or even an accountant. Because when you go to the list, an accountant is also part of the priority occupations. So even though these may be mining or automotive or whatever job, they may actually be looking for something else. I mean, every company needs someone to also sit in the office. So you can just go there, look them up, and go to their website, look at the jobs that they actually are looking for people for. Because for the one that is not hiring, they made it clear this company is not hiring. So I am assuming that for the rest, they are probably hired. So you can just try them out. So we also have Ontario Inc. OA Duck Enterprise. So I searched for this Duck Enterprise and I think they are a trucking company. EV Nickel Inc. Firms, Sansu CLT, Pepco. I'm not sure whether Pepco is the same as PepsiCo, because I know in Ottawa we have PepsiCo, that's Pepsi company, but I'm not sure if it's the same. I've not really had the time to look them. And we also have St. Mary's Gardens GPE, Timmins and District Hospital, Turomont Cats, YCMA of Northeastern Ontario. But the one that I wanted to bring to people's attention is the Timmins and District Hospital. So with this, it means if you are looking for a hospital job like a nurse, nurse aide, practical nurse, and all of that, you may probably want to search this company up and go to their career sites and apply for jobs. Or better still, if you go to their website, you will be able to get their HR email and email them asking for a position that they are hiring for. Suppose you are a nurse, an RN, you can just email an HR your resume and let them know you are an RN or an RPN or a this with this many years experience and all of that. And ask them if they have a position for you. And let your intentions be clear that yes, you do intend to come with the rural and Francophone community immigration pilot. Since they are qualified, they do know a lot of people would want to come through that, so they will be aware of it. And one thing I also want you to very, very, very clear about is no one is going to be charging you. If any company that you contact wants to take any money from you, you'd have to report it, because no real company or no genuine company here is going to be charging you. It is illegal in Canada for anyone who wants to employ you to take money from you. Yes, when it gets to applying for the PR, you may be lucky enough to have the company want to sponsor you, to pay for everything. But mostly, they would ask you to go through the process yourself. Yes, they will do what they have to do, what they are required to do. I'll take you through the whole step, all the steps, the 7 steps. So you get to know what they are supposed to do and what you are supposed to do. But like I had some friends who went through the Alberta program, and with them, the province of Alberta paid for almost everything. For some of them, they made them pay, and then they refunded it when they got to Canada. So that's how it works. But they are not going to be like, for us to give you a job offer, you have to pay for it. That is not how it works. If you hear anything like that, start suspecting that it is a scam. That is why I'm also showing you how to get to the official websites. So now let's go to step 3. So as we started, step 1 is for you to know whether you qualify or not, and the kind of things you have to do first, like doing your language test, doing your academic evaluation, and making sure you have enough money in your bank statements to be able to show us funds. And then step 2 is for you to look for the job, apply for the job, probably get an interview, and then get a job offer. So once you get a job offer, now we go to step 3. You now need a community recommendation. So for a community recommendation, the company that you apply to after giving you the job offer, they themselves, not you, they themselves, the company will send your application to the community. They know where to send it to. They know the process. They will send it to them, and they would have to go through a process whereby the community is going to decide if they are going to recommend you or not. And before you go there, you have to ensure you have all the lists that are needed for the community to even think of assessing or reviewing your application. So these are the documents you need to send to the company. I mean, your company need to send to the community, but there are some of them that you would have to fill and give to the company first. So the first one here is a recommendation application form. This will be completed by the employer, not you, completed by the employer. And the next one is annex to recommendation application, intent to reside form. So what this basically means is, let me see, let me turn this over. Okay. I hope those on TikTok can still see it from here. Yeah. So what this basically means is this annex to recommendation application or intent to reside form. That's the second document you need. So what this means is the company wants you to tell them in your own words why you want to live in that particular company. It's just like when you are applying to school in Canada and you are expected to write a statement of purpose. So you have to write at least 250 words to a maximum of 500 words. This is supposed to be written by you, the applicant, not the employer, you, the applicant. So statement provided by candidate explaining their intent to reside in the community. As I said, unlike the federal express entry where anybody who qualifies can just move to anywhere in Canada that they prefer to live, in this case, you have to live in the particular community that brought you in, the particular community that sponsored you. So if you came to, let's say, Timmins, you have to live in Timmins. So Timmins want to be sure, very sure, that you indeed plan on living in Timmins. Not that you are going to move in here and the moment you get your PR, you tell them, hey, I have my PR, so I can move wherever I want. No. Timmins want people who are coming to help their community grow. So they need people who are going to prove to them that they are committed to coming to live in Timmins. So you need to write this in 250 to 500 words. And mind you, you cannot use AI, you cannot copy from someone, because yes, Just as you know, there is AI, there's ChatGPT and all of that that can help you. They are also very, very aware of it. And the moment they suspect you copy from someone, there's plagiarism or whatever, they are going to cancel your application. So make sure you do not fall foul. I know a lot of people are already thinking of it. That is why I am telling you now. Don't think of it, or you are going to be on the losing end. And there is also the offer of employment to foreign national. This is going to also be completed by the employer, not you. The employer is going to fill this to tell the community to prove to them why they need to hire a foreign national. It's just a form that they are going to fill. You have nothing to do with this. So the fourth document is the Schedule 1. Whether you are applying for the rural community or the Francophone community, you call it the Schedule 1. And this is going to be completed by you, the candidate. And we also have proof of education. As I said, you do definitely need to do an academic evaluation. So you need to send the academic evaluation reports and a copy of your international degree or diploma. Just a copy, not the original. When you're doing the academic evaluation, they will most likely take the original from your school. Yes. So they will be able to verify. So you being able to prove to them or send them your academic evaluation is good enough for them to know that, hey, this is legit. But they still need to get a copy of the original degree or diploma. So now we are going back to the rest of the steps. So that is step 3. And then step 4, they are going to show you how the applications are going to be processed. So I am going to read what they say on their website for you. So from what they are saying here, how applications are processed. The Timmins Regional RCIP FCIP ranks applications in a pool using a points-based system. Just like the express entry, everything is points-based. So a points-based system means whatever you have, your age, your academic achievement, whether it's a degree, diploma, whatever, your years of experience and all of that are going to give you points. And these points will add up to a final number. And from what they are saying here, complete applications meeting the eligibility requirements or minimum score of 50 points required will be placed into a candidate pool. So they need you to have at least 50 points. And once you're able to get these 50 points, they put you in a pool. And in this pool, they are able to now hold draws, just like the express entry. And draws will be completed by the TEDC, that is the Timmins community, and once per month. The highest scoring applications in the pool as of each draw date will be further assessed by the TEDC and reviewed by the selection committee at the end of every month. So what this means is, as I said, as I use the express entry as an example, every month they are going to have one draw and they are going to draw the highest applicants. So let's say they need, 200 people this month. When they have the draw, they are going to choose the top 200 people, the top 200 applicants. And if that means, and mind you, you need to have at least 50 to even get into this pool in the first place. So let's say they do it, and at the end of the day, they reach the top 200, the last of the 200, and that is, let's say, 55. It means the draw point is going to be 55. But sometimes what happens is, this is same for the express entry too. Sometimes what happens is, when you get to that 55, you may have it that There are multiple people who have the 55 points, but you cannot pick them all. Or what is going to happen is you are going to have to pick more than the 200 that you initially wanted. So what they do now is they now have to cut it off based on the date and time that you submitted your application. So let's say we both submitted our applications today, but I submitted mine in the morning and you submitted yours in the evening. It means mine went in earlier before you. And as a result, even though we are both 55, I will be called and you will not be called. So that is what this means in here. So this is how they are going to assess it. And once you are picked, they are now going to take you to their selection committee and do their stuffs. And then at the end of the day, you are going to get the community recommendation. So once you get a community recommendation, you are now eligible to apply for the permanent residence. And this is where you now go back to IRCC's website. Go to the same page that we were before, and then go through the process, and it'll take you to where to apply for the permanent residence. And then you create an account and just upload the documents that you by now you should already have, like the offer letter and the community recommendation and your academic evaluation, your language score, and all of those things will be needed when you are applying for the permanent residence. And when you put in the application, then you will be able to also apply for the work permit if you qualify, apply for work permit and all of that. And once all of these are done, you will also, and everything goes through and is approved, you now get to come to Canada and settle in the Northeast. That's in your community. So this is the whole process. And the step 7 is the optional work permit. If you require a temporary work permit while your permanent residence application is being processed at the IRCC, you can learn about this process, that you can apply for it. So that is just what I just told you about. If you happen to be in Canada and you already have a work permit and as a result do not need the temporary work permit, then fine, you can just continue working with that work permit. But if you are outside or you are here, in whatever status you are, maybe you're a visitor or you're a student, and whatever status you have is expiring, you can just equally apply for the temporary work permit, which will take you until everything is done and approved, and then you convert into becoming a permanent. So yes, this is the end of the whole. Yeah, that's the end of the step 7. So this is the Timmins website, and as of now, they are the ones who have the most up-to-date information for you. So we are now going back to IRCC's website. So we are almost done with this whole thing, and yeah. So as I said, apply. Once you get the job offer, go to the community and everything. You now come back to IRCC, apply for permanent residence. So as I said, you definitely have to create an account. So now you have to come here, apply for permanent residence, and then you have to create an account. Or if you already have an account, then all you have to do is just sign in and use that same account to apply. This is one thing with Canada. That same account is what you're going to be using to apply for everything. So if you've ever applied for school, for work, visitor's visa, or whatever, that same account is what you're going to be using to apply for a PR when the time comes to use the same account for everything. So once you have one application with Canada, just make sure that you at least have your UCI number, because they are always going to ask in any future applications. Application numbers don't even matter, but you definitely need your UCI number, because they are going to definitely ask you about it. And once you do one biometric, it lasts for 10 years. So if you provide your UCI number, they will know you've already provided your biometrics, and then you won't have to pay and submit another biometrics, and then that will be it. So that is one of the good things with Canada's applications. And yeah, as I said, after you apply, it's now just for you to wait for everything to be done. You move to Canada, and then you get to settle, and you also have the optional work permit. So this is going to be it for the YouTube live stream. If you just joined midway, you can always restart it and watch from the beginning so that you are able to understand. If you have any questions whatsoever, make sure you just put it in the comment box and I will definitely reply. And also, if you want to chat me, you can always chat me either on Facebook or on Instagram. Because on TikTok, we cannot chat. You can chat with me all right on TikTok, but mostly some people want to send media, and TikTok doesn't allow that. So I prefer you chat me on either Instagram or on Facebook. I'm not very active on Facebook and Instagram, but the chats are always open on my phone. So you can always chat there. But most of my videos and lights, I post them on TikTok and YouTube. Have a nice day and see you in the next one.